Hey guys, how are you all doing? So we're the 30th of December today, technically the last day of the year. And today I'm finally making this video because I finally decided to face my eating disorders. It's been something I've been dealing with since I was 15 and which wasn't really properly treated until now, and which at some point I'm saying almost because it didn't really ruin my life completely, but the truth is that it did cause me many problems and every single aspect of my life. Probably the thing I'm mostly sorry about is that it did ruin my relationship with my family, and this is something I really regret. And if I decided to dive into this journey and make it public, is because for me it's a way to recover. It's a way to find people who can relate and who can feel less lonely in their journey, and so we can get out of this nasty psychological disease together. If you have any questions, obviously you can ask them. So today, day one after my series of binges. As you all know, at the beginning of December, there was a huge strike that started in France. And before that, for almost 3 months, I've been running like a mad horse everywhere. Speeding up, being too busy. Basically, it felt like being on a bicycle and riding for 200 kilometers an hour. And then suddenly, out of a sudden, everything stopped. And for me, sadly, for almost 10 years, my coping mechanism has been going through food whenever life gets, let's say, a bit less busy. Because obviously I couldn't use public transport, I couldn't have access to many things to which I had access until now in order to either fight my anxiety or for work reasons. I used to commute to Paris. So it all stopped out of a sudden. I had to face my own self, and this, usually when you're dealing with this kind of disorders, it's the hardest thing to do in your life, especially when you have your fridge just behind you. So yeah, and you start stuffing your emotions. Basically, you stuff them with some people stuff them with alcohol, some people stuff them with sex, some people stuff them with whatever, with toxic relationships. I'm that person that sadly I used to stuff myself with food. I have been stuffing myself with food, which is not a healthy option. Obviously, it's not a healthy way to cope with things. Oh, sorry, my alarm. And the major progress that I managed to make, though, since I actually accepted the fact that I have this disorder and that it's it's having a bad impact on my life. The fact that I almost stopped sugar. So until now, I used to binge a lot on junky stuff, on sugary stuff, and eventually that did cause me insulin problems at some points. And if at 18 years old, I used to binge and puke and everything, and the next day I would just go like nothing happened. With every binge or with every puke, my body would let me know it. I would feel either like I woke up from a hangover, or I would just feel ill simply. Eventually I started to have insulin problems, so I had to do some blood tests. I did have insulin problems, which could eventually lead to diabetes. So if your children are overindulging with sugary stuff, think about this as not only about the weight, it's about the whole impact that it can have on your hormones, on your insulin, basically, lots of people who are dealing with diabetes when they're adults, like a lot of people, sadly they ended up with the disease because of the way they eat or because of the way they overeat. So the moment my dietitian told me you might have diabetes, I was like, okay, stop. You're 26, you're young, you're beautiful, and you're gonna have diabetes. That's not gonna work out. So she put me on a diet. And a diet doesn't mean like having a piece of yogurt and a piece of apple and that's it for the whole day. She completely removed actually sugar from my diet. And I have to say that the first 2 weeks, it's like somebody who's been on, marijuana for years, and then suddenly you tell them, you have to stop this. So the first 2 weeks, I thought I was going to go crazy. Literally. You have mood swings. You just want to kill every single person who stands in your way whenever they say something that's irritating or that doesn't suit you. You're happy, and then the next hour you feel like you just want to die. These are horrible mood swings that are completely natural when you stop sugar, because this is what helps you to get better for a small tiny piece of time, and then you crush. This is what sugar does. There's a very interesting I'm gonna write it down actually not to forget to write it to paste it below. So there's a documentary called That Sugar, which I really recommend you to watch. It's a very interesting one, which focuses on the fact that all your disease problems don't really come from overindulging with fat, but overindulging with sugar. So I really recommend you to watch it. So yeah. And then within a month, I started to notice that I don't have this huge urge to have something sweet right after my meal. Then even the nature of so for a whole month I didn't have any binge. And then eventually with the stress piling up and with this tons of series of events that happened in my life, I eventually restarted to binge again from time to time. Only that I wouldn't binge on sugary food, and I can tell you that it did make a huge difference to me. It did make a huge difference. So yeah. It's just like I changed the food on which I used to binge, which is not a good alternative, but it was already a good start for me. So it was like step one. What else? What was I saying? This one thing I should focus on also is like being able to follow up being able to follow up my thoughts, which I also lost sadly because of my binges. It does have an impact on your brains, on your concentration span. My concentration span was drastically lowered with time. It became obvious in all the aspects of my life. Sometimes it would be mistaken for simply people would ask me sometimes, have you got enough sleep or have you got enough food? But it was simply I realized that even when I was feeling good, my concentration was still bad. So it did have an impact on the long term. Something not to neglect when you see somebody suffering from this kind of disorders. What else do I have to say? Covered this one. So yeah, coming back to my binges, eventually I got into pole dance. As you all know, this is, for me, it was more than of a mere sport. I guess I have to dedicate a single video, a separate video for pole dancing. Is for me, it's more than just a sport. It's more than just embracing your body and all the elements that go with. So I'll be covering this topic later on. But basically, it was a way for me also to escape from reality. It did help me to curb my food impulses and to curb my anxiety. It did have a huge impact on my recovery process, and I'm very grateful for all the instructors, for all my pole instructors who have been training me until now, for my contortion instructors also, or basically every single person in the sports industry and the aerial sports industry who has been helping me with my journey without even knowing it. Though I think some people start to suspect it was my mood swings. But yeah, it was one of the healthy options for me to cope with the problem. So to come back to my diet, so yesterday I came out from another binge yet. I've been binging a lot this month, as I've been telling you, and today is day 1, and which I start, like, the day I decided to start my healthy journey, my healthy diet, or like I decided to get back in shape, not only for physical reasons, but also for emotional and for mental reasons. So one of the reflexes that we tend to have after a binge or after days and weeks of binging or like eating unhealthy is to fast the next day. And then once you get hungry or you get the spike of hunger, you're like, oh my God, but I was supposed to fast. And then you're like, no, but I'm gonna just starve myself. I don't want to suffer. And then another voice tells you, you know what, girl, life is short, eat. And then you're like, no, just the fact that I thought about it, I have to be punished. No, you're not punishing yourself. You're actually taking care of yourself. And it ends up in a huge anxiety. It ends up in a huge mental hell. You find yourself in hell and you end up binging again. So until now, I've been usually like refusing the idea that actually you have to eat after a binge the next day. A normal meal, like nothing happened, a healthy meal, a nutritious meal, and I would be like, this is bullshit. I would fast actually, which would work for a while. It would work, but at this stage of my life, I realized it just doesn't work like this. So I did have a healthy lunch today. I'm very proud of it. I'm gonna post a picture about it and explain to you why I opted for these particular ingredients. You're gonna be surprised about lots of facts related to nutrition. I'm not talking about details right now because I haven't really prepared a script to give you, scientific information, like exact information. So I'm just sharing my experience and my insight with this first video. What else? I did have my first meal. I did have a dessert, a non-sugary dessert, which I will share also with you. So yeah, basically it's day 1 for me. I have started today, December 30th, and the goal is to lose 5 kilos in 1 month. Maybe it will happen in a shorter period of time. Maybe it will take a bit longer. But this is the delay I set to myself. I used to wait. I weighed about 56 kilos a month ago. Because I lost 2 kilos very bit too quickly in 2 weeks. But then now I weigh 62. Yeah, that's a lot of weight. That's 6 kilos in a month. I'm lucky it doesn't really show on me sometimes because I've been sportive since the age of 6. So I've always danced. I danced my whole life, and it kind of build the right muscles for me that would help me to either get rid of the bad fat or to distribute it in a proper way. So yeah, probably shows in my cheeks of it. But anyways, so yeah, plus 6 kilos. I need a -5. So this is gonna be my goal for January 2020, body wise and mentally wise, to be healthy, to have healthy behaviors. So if you also have some goals, body related goals, share. Don't hesitate to share them with me. Let's discuss it. I mean, let's face it together. Don't feel alone in this matter. And yeah, I'll see you with my next video. I'll try to cover. I will think later about what I'm gonna cover right now, because I have many topics that I would like to share and discuss. So yeah, and until now, stay healthy and Happy New Year, obviously. I know for many of you it's been a very difficult year, very complicated one. For me at least, it was like hell, but also heaven at the same time. So two contrasts. I'm very grateful for all the people I was blessed to meet this year, for all the positive people who had a huge impact on my life, for all the negative people also who made me realize that I have to get rid of them, who taught me many lessons also. Thank you so much. In terms of countries, I always have the country of the year. Until now, it has been Japan always. Today, I want to also thank India and Japan, my two beloved countries that never stopped teaching me and never stopped helping me to grow up as a person and in every aspect of my life. So I'm looking forward to carry on discovering these two countries right here from France for the moment. And yeah, Happy New Year!